Welcome back to the S&H Farm Supply High School Highlights Show here on Jock 98.7, powered by Postgame Pizza, postgamepizza.com. Postgame Pizza with locations in Rogersville, Ozark, and Marshfield. And come out today to John B. Hughes Park. We'll talk a little bit more about that on the show for Bears Badges and Kids. And Jacob from Postgame Pizza will be bringing up some pizzas to share with the police officers and the kids. But we are pleased to welcome to the scoreboard line right now the new head basketball coach at Reed Spring High School, Austin Kendrick. Coach Kendrick, thanks so much for being part of the show today.
Hey, not a problem, guy. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Before we get into how you arrived at Reed Spring, a 2004 graduate of Parkview High School. Then you kind of went through some rather turbulent times in your life that kind of delayed your collegiate career. Talk a little bit about that and those struggles with testicular cancer.
I was diagnosed with testicular cancer when I was 18. It was actually 2 weeks after my high school graduation. Found a lump on my right testicle and kind of knew what it was right away. And went and saw a doctor, and I ended up having surgery just a couple weeks after I found it, and cost me part of my Legion summer of my senior year, but. I'd verbally committed to play at Fort Scott Community College. And when I found it, kind of let Coach Monologue at the time know what was going on. And, after we talked, I came back. I actually made it back, 3 weeks, about 2 weeks left of my senior summer left to play, and came back and played. But we talked at the end of the summer, and we both decided that's probably best for me to stay home and, make sure that my health was going to be doing okay, and that we'd probably try to make another shot at it the next year, and things just didn't pan out. So, in the sports world, that's kind of the way some things happen. You just kind of have to be able to roll with the punches at times. And, I missed out on a college baseball career, but at the same time, it's kind of what got me started into coaching and teaching and things like that.
As you go back and look at that, and that's relatively not that long ago, 15 years basically, what did you learn about yourself during that time that maybe you didn't know about Austin Kendrick?
In all honesty, I always felt like I was a tough guy, but I never really knew how tough I really was. I never knew how much I could fight and what I could actually fight through. As an athlete, you always think that you're a little bit better than what you actually are. But when you're actually faced with something like cancer, and you actually have to fight for your life, you really find out what you're made of. And I found out that there's a lot more fight in me than I ever expected. And I also figured out that I'm, able to get if I'm able to get through, cancer, I'm pretty much able to get through anything that I'm going to face in my lifetime.
And obviously you had some people very close to you that kind of went through that battle with you, whether it be friends, relatives. What was that like to have that support?
The support system was vital. Having, probably one of the biggest supports that I had was actually my high school choir teacher. He, stepped up and helped me through a lot of things. He's kind of a big mentor of mine. Having coaches like Lance Quisenberry and Bill Brown and guys like that around me at that time played a huge part. Having Coach Quiz tell me that I was going to be able to make it through anything, and that I kind of inspired him and things like that. That was really vital for me, and that was it had a huge impact on my life.
And now, after that, you graduate Missouri State University 2012. You've been at Parkview 8 years. What was that experience like for you? And, you did obviously you had a role in baseball and a role in basketball. What were those roles like, and how did that help you develop as a coach?
Being able to go back to my alma mater was huge. In all honesty, Parkview, up until Reed Spring, Parkview was the only place that I'd been. But getting to go back and coach coach with Bill Brown, who I played for, and then Quisenberry is actually the first one to hire me at Parkview for baseball. But getting to work with guys like John Thompson and Tim Johnson and Brett Guy and guys like that, it's played a huge part of my life, and it's been really cool because I've gotten to coach with guys that I played for, and then coach with guys that I've played with as well. So they've had a great impact on my life, and it was one of those things where I never really envisioned myself leaving Parkview, but with the Reed Spring community and the opportunity that they have out there, I mean, it was just too good to pass up. So definitely something that, Parkview has paved a lot of ways for me and done a lot of things for me, especially to get me to where I'm at today. But I'm very thankful for everything that they've, offered me and helped me get to. But I'm really excited to be a Wolf.
As you look back on your high school career and even teachers you may have had at the collegiate level, and then obviously at 8 years you spent at Parkview, and you've mentioned a lot of those guys right now that have been impactful on your life. But looking back, who are those 2 or 3 mentors that you've leaned on, in the last maybe 5 years that you look forward to visiting with, maybe you seek advice from?
I mean, Landon Cornish is probably one of my biggest mentors. I know he's, we're the same age, but he's a great guy and a great friend of mine. And in all honesty, I mean, I know I'm probably a little biased, but I think he's probably one of the best, if not the best, basketball coach here in Southwest Missouri. But he's definitely a guy that I talk to a lot that I'm going to lean on. And Bill Brown is another one. I mean, I can't thank Coach Brown enough for everything that he's done for me in my life, and he's the one that hired me and got me a teaching job and things like that. So, I mean, those 2 guys are really important for me and everything that I've been through and that I'm building now. John Thompson's another one, the new principal out at Republic High School. He's the one that kept me in baseball. He fought for me to stay in baseball for as long as I did, because when I was hired, I was actually just going to be a basketball coach, and he wanted to make sure that he kept me on as a baseball coach as well. So, those 3 guys are 3 guys that have really played a big part in who I am as a coach and who I am as a person now.
Take us through the process here. We're visiting with Coach Austin Kendrick, the new head basketball coach at Reed Spring. Take us through that process when you decided to make that leap and basically go scoot one chair down. What was your thought process? Who did you lean on? Family, mentors. Take us through that process.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things that, being at Parkview for as long as I have been, it's kind of scary to think about leaving. And I'd been talking with Landon and, Coach Brown. I've been talking to both of them for years about, my aspirations to be a head coach. And, after the season came to an end this year, Landon and I were sitting in the office and we were talking about, jobs that were going to open up. And he said, you're ready. He's like, I think it's time. And it was one of those things, like, we both enjoy working with each other, but it was just kind of like we both knew that I was ready for the next step. And, he really kind of, instilled some confidence in me and got me to actually get there and apply for a couple of jobs that I applied for these last couple of years. And, Coach Brown's the same way. Coach Brown, he's played a big part in it. And as far as he's always a great support system for me as well to let me know that, I'm ready to go. And having 2 coaches be like that, 2 coaches that have won a lot of games tell me that I'm ready to go. That gives me a lot of confidence to know that, I'm doing the right thing. And then, my wife, she's played a big part in it as well. She's constantly pushing me to be better every single day. So when Reed Spring came open and I went and interviewed and came back and told her how I felt, she was all on board for it. So those 3, and then, my dad and my mom, I can't thank them enough. My brothers, I got 2 brothers, and, everybody around me, they've just given me nothing but support and confidence and faith that I know that I'm doing the right thing.
Now, obviously we're in different times we've never seen before. What have your days been like since you've taken the job? Have you had an opportunity to work out with the kids, meet the kids, and what's the summer been like so far?
The summer's actually been it's been good for us. We when I got hired right in the middle or right at the start of the pandemic, so I didn't get to go down and actually have a meeting with the kids or a meeting with the parents. But with Stone County not having too many confirmed cases, Reed Spring felt comfortable about having our summer school program start down there. So we've been doing summer weights. We started that on June 8th. So I've had pretty much all of my basketball kids down there in summer weights. We've been able to work out and really kind of get the summer started and get us rolling in workouts. So while I didn't get to have those meetings that you normally get to have as being the new guy, I've had a chance to get down there and meet all the guys and meet a couple of the parents and meet the administration and for us to be able to be in the gym working out and doing things like that, it's been crucial for us. Now we're still having to we're still socially distancing as much as we possibly can and sanitizing a lot, but it's it's different as far as our cleanup and our the way that we get ready for practice and things like that. But it's definitely nice to be able to be in the gym with guys that are wanting to be there and excited to be there.
And what do you know about your team that you've got coming back? Kind of what's the breakdown, age group, and building off of last season. What are your expectations?
Coach Yoakum's done a really good job down there the last couple of years, and when he was leaving, he didn't leave the cupboard bare by any means. I mean, he just had a really good opportunity to go be a principal. So, I feel like I'm stepping into a really good situation. We've got 3 seniors. We've got Lance Hafer. He's a 6'6" forward. I mean, he can play inside out. Really talented kid. I've got a point guard, Micah Asbill, who he controls the pace and controls the tempo really well. I got another senior named Austin Lewis, who's just he's a defender and he works really hard. We got a couple juniors. Ty Cooper is going to be really good for us. Kid can just flat out shoot it. So in our sophomore class, we've got a lot of talent in our sophomore class as well. We got about a 6'5" kid, Caden Weist, who's a really good football player, but he's definitely starting to develop himself as a good basketball player as well. So with kids like them, and then we got a kid named Tanner Hershey and Matt Greenwald that are both big kids that are skilled and can play. So really, I feel like they won 16 games last year. I feel like it's definitely something that we're going to be able to improve on this year.
Now, you've only been a head coach now for just a few months and not even in a game, but what's that first aha moment of, this isn't something I've had to deal with before?
I think it's probably just the fact of how careful we have to be around everything, as far as what we're with just the times that we're dealing with right now. If a kid's not feeling well, it's usually you kind of want kids to work through little things. If they've got a sore throat, you want them to be there and play and be at practice and stuff like that. Now it's if a kid's showing any symptoms or any signs at all, hey, we're gonna have to send you home, or you're gonna have to kind of stay away for a little bit. So it's kind of changed the mindset just a little bit as far as wanting kids to work through some things, to making sure that we're taking extra precautions and things like that. So that's been that's been a big change, and kind of that aha moment, I guess you could say, as far as we really have to make sure that we're following through with our safety precautions and our safety procedures right now.
Visiting with Austin Kendrick, the new head basketball coach at Reed Spring High School. And before we let you go, just one more for you, Coach. But if you can look back at on your playing career and the opportunities that you've had, what is maybe the best advice that you've received here and obviously early in your coaching career, but looking back at some of maybe the best advice that you received?
Some of the best advice that I've received is, early on in my playing career and stuff like that, I always struggled with confidence. I was one of those guys that I knew I was pretty good, but I didn't really understand how good I was until coaches instilled confidence in me. And I think it's still kind of that same way. A lot of guys that are really good assistant coaches, they just don't necessarily have that confidence to be ready to step up to that head coaching role. So for me, it's, Quiz told me, he's like, hey, you need to be very confident in your abilities, because, the more confident you are, the more likely you are to do great things. So that's just the biggest thing that I think I've taken from that is, be confident in yourself, be confident in who you are, and instill that confidence in the kids that you have around you.
Outstanding. Well, Coach Kendrick, I really appreciate you being part of the show today. I know it's a tough time, but hey, we'll make it through this. And if nothing else, you've got a little background where you can say, hey, look what I went through. We can get through this, and that's always kind of that trump card. And so I'm sure that you've used that and to the best of your ability and to the best of intentions. But I appreciate you being part of the show. We ran into each other down at the play catch deal with what they were doing down there at CY Sports, and kind of got your number. Then I lost it, and then I forgot we were friends on Facebook, so I could message you or Twitter you or whatever. But I appreciate the connection, and thanks so much for your time today.
Hey, no problem, guy. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You're listening to the S&H Farm Supply High School Highlight Show here on Jock 98.7 ESPN Radio. S&H Farm Supply, been taking care of the people who feed us since 1969, and we'll be back after these messages.